Well, I said it. Our defence looked shaky against Watford. We came up against a side today who were clinical and we lost the game 3-2 to Wrexham. Honestly, they deserve all 3 points. I'm not going to complain too much. You probably think I'm going to do that in this game. I'm definitely not going to do it. I'm going to give praise to Wrexham where it is. They played a fantastic game today. We'll talk about our woeful defending in this match reaction. We'll also talk about the goalkeeping errors, which I think we could have been prevented easily if we had a switched on goalkeeper today. Carl Rushworth, he's done really well for us so far this season, but this game showed a little bit of frailty into his game. Also, the lack of chances that we had, I just couldn't believe what I was watching. We didn't create any clear-cut chances. We took our chances when we needed to, and we've been relying on that over the past couple of games. But what does this mean for our title challenges? I'll let you know in this match reaction. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 500 subscribers. That's what we're trying to do by the end of the year. If you're new and you're a Coventry City fan, or if you're an EFL Championship fan, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump straight into the match reaction. So my immediate thoughts after the game is we definitely deserved it. I knew it was coming. After that first half performance, we're 1-0 up, but we weren't the better side. I mean, the stats showed that we were the better side, but with your eye test knowledge, you knew that Wrexham were causing us a little bit of chaos in that defence. They had a couple of chances where they were inside the box. They could have shot it, but they decided to dribble inside. We got out of a couple of situations where on another day, they would have scored and they could have been 2-1 up at halftime. But am I angry with that performance? I don't think I can be when you look at the facts. When you look at the facts is we changed our back four. We had 3 new players coming in. The only player who plays for us normally there is Kitchen, and then we had Wolverhampton, who was a new centre-back. Right back, Kessler Hayden, because Milan was suspended because he got a yellow card in the last game. And then you had Bidwell at left-back. I don't know why Bidwell was starting instead of De Silva. The only thing I could think of is that Wrexham are a very physical side, and having Bidwell there compared to Jay De Silva probably made sense on paper, but today Bidwell was probably the worst player on the pitch. He left so many opportunities for them to attack down our left-hand side. As I mentioned before, that chance that they had where in the first half they cut it to the right-hand side, he's on his left foot and he tries to cut back inside and play it into the box when he should have had a shot. Mistakes like that cost us today, and I think Lampard has to take a little bit of accountability for it. I understand that players can't play every single game, but that's what the transfer window's there for. We brought in Miguel Angel Brau, who can play left-back. Bidwell was woeful today. Why did we not start Angel Brau? That's the real question I want to ask. And look, I'm kind of not happy, but I'm kind of relieved that the monkey is off our back now, because the more games you go into the season where we haven't lost a game, you go, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? So finally we've lost the game, and it's a little bit of like, yeah, we can lose games of football. We're not going to ride this any much longer. That happened. Let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about the first half performance. As I mentioned before, I think it was a solid first half. They were definitely the better side, but we took our chance very well. Sakamoto down the right hand side, he was man of the match today, and I just want to put up my hands. I apologise. Sakamoto was excellent tonight. There was a couple of times where he fell down and he's a little bit too lightweight, but other than that, he was rinsing the fullbacks today. Man of the match, definitely, probably like an 8.5 out of 10. Insane. He got it on the right-hand side, switched the ball on his left foot all the way to Mason Clark, and he scored a fantastic goal. What was it, half volley? Beautiful goal. And after that first goal goes in, you're like, okay, we're doing what we usually do. We'll just put our feet back, we'll pass around the ball, we'll try and take that second chance, and then we'll win the game from here. And that just didn't happen. Wrexham looked very energetic going forward. They looked very strong. Our left-hand side, as I said, was just non-existent in that first half, and especially in the second half. And then in the second half, that's just where it went all Pete Tong. It was woeful defending. Their first goal, that is preventable in my opinion, definitely. You've got Bidwell who's marking somebody, and then he backs off the player who's putting in the ball into the box, and then they just tap it in. Kiefer Moore was very deadly for them today. He's a great striker, and he's shown it at this level, and we're just not even marking him in the box. It's just terrible defending. And their second goal, don't get me started on it. We let them whip in the ball again, and then a guy who's 6'5" in the championship is unmarked, and he gets a free header. He doesn't even jump for the ball. That's how terrible the defending was. Wolverhampton has to do better there. He's a championship / Premier League centre-back. He needs to do better in those defending positions, and I know he hasn't played too much to get that sharpness, but you've got that experience. You know what to do, and he just headers the ball back post. Maybe Rushworth could have done a little bit better. I think it's a little bit harsh, people criticising him for that. It's a last second header. It's got a lot of power behind it, and some days keepers will say that, some days they won't, but the third goal was the one that I really want to blame Rushworth with. I mean, how is he scoring from that angle? People say it's a good finish on his left foot. Yes, I can see that to a certain extent, but it's right next to his left foot. Rushworth needs to save that, and he knew where he was going to put the ball anyways. All the time, that's what you do as a striker. You put it across the keeper because it's the hardest for them to save, but it wasn't even in the corner. Rushworth needs to save that. On another day, he would have, but today, he just wasn't switched on enough. And then with our second goal, Sakamoto takes a shot on the edge of the box. It was a fantastic goal, and I started to believe, could we get another draw? But unfortunately, it wasn't today. It just wasn't in the stars. We didn't deserve a draw, in my opinion. We deserve 3-2. I think that's a fair score line. And our problem today was just not creating enough chances. Every time we went forward, we would either try and whip it back post to Sakamoto to head of the ball, which makes no sense to me. He's 5'2". Why are we trying to whip the ball to him when we could whip it on the other side to Mason Clark or to Haji Wright? It made absolutely no sense. I know it's the game plan. I've seen this week in, week out, where we try and switch the ball to Sakamoto. He dribbles down the line. He takes on the player, whips in the ball. But why are we trying to whip the ball to him? It makes no sense. But he took that chance beautifully, and we need to shoot more often in games. Sometimes we try and walk in the ball where Mason Clark will have it. He'll dribble inside the box, and then he'll lay it back to the midfielder like Eccles, and then Eccles will try and dink it over to the right-hand side. Just have a shot sometimes in football. It'll go in the back of the net. It'll take a deflection. We need to start doing that a little bit more for my liking. If you want to go off the FotMob stats, that's what it says. 46% possession for them, 54 for Coventry, 1.6 expected goals compared to 1.3. We had more shots in the game, but the shots on target is where we lacked again. 5 shots on target compared to their 7. They had better chances, and they took them. They had 3 big chances, and they scored all 3 of those. That's the difference. That's what we've been doing these past weeks. Against Watford, we should have been 3-1 down, 3-2 down at half-time, but we found ourselves 3-0 up because we took those chances. We finally played a team who took their chances today, and that's what's not been happening with us this season. A couple of games you could say, like Derby, they were 3-2 up. Portsmouth could have taken their chances on another day. Watford, we've been riding a little bit of luck, and which we can all acknowledge because we're top of the league, and when you win games, you kind of dismiss it. But that's what I said after the Watford game. I said, was that one of our worst performances? We won 3-1, but we didn't play well, and this is what happens when teams take their chances. They will win against us, which we're top of the league still. It's not the end of the world. We'll be top of the league by the end of this match day because of our goal difference is just fantastic this season. We're sitting on 28 points, 8 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss in the league now. And what I want to see is how we bounce back from this performance. Will we go and play Sheffield United and win and everything will be okay, or will we lose 2 in a row and then there'll be a meltdown in the fan base? Oh no, we've lost 2 in a row out of 14 games. Just actually deep that. If we lose 2 in a row, it's not the end of the world. It's not great, obviously, because then you're going on a losing streak. You'd rather lose, win, win, draw, lose, win, win, win. But it is what it is at the end of the day. If we lose against Sheffield United, which we definitely shouldn't, because seeing as how bad they are this season and how good we are, but today showed that we're not indestructible. We can still be got at from defences and from attacks from other teams, and we just need to be a little bit more switched on. That's all it is. We came into this game thinking that maybe we'll roll them over. We had changes in the lineup, which didn't help us at all. Like I mentioned before, that back 4, 3 new additions in that back 4. Of course, we're going to struggle today. A midfield, which is depleted. Torp came on today. He looked energetic. He looked good in that midfield role. Alan just showed that he's not up to starting games, in my opinion. When he comes off the bench, he's very energetic. He listens to what Lampard says, but starting a game of football, he really struggles in that second half. You can see he's just very leggy. Going back to the league table, we still sit top of the league, so we are top of the league. 36 goals scored, 12 conceded in the league. That's averaging 3-1 scoreline. And Wrexham move up to 11, 17 points in the league. Now we've just got to hope that the rest of the weekend's fixtures go in our favour. A lot of the match days previously, they have actually gone in our favour, so hopefully that trend can continue. But now we're going to move along to my player ratings for Coventry 2, Wrexham 3. Starting off with Rushworth in goal, I've got to give him a 6.5. I think one of them was definitely preventable. Most people would say 2, but I'm going to go with 1, so 6.5, just a little bit more than average. I think his distribution today was pretty good. That one instance in the first half where their attacker was closing him down and then he just chops it back onto his right foot was excellent. But yeah, 6.5 for me. Kessler Hayden, I'll give him a 6.5 also. He could have done a little bit better in a couple of instances, whipping the ball into the box. He just wasn't at it today, and you can kind of excuse that. He's a fantastic right back, but he hasn't played necessarily too many minutes to criticise him for his fitness, for his sharpness, so I can let him off the hook a little bit. Wolverhampton, I'll give a 6 out of 10, just average from him today. I think the third goal he definitely could have stopped. It was a header back post, easy easy peasy, put your head on it. I don't know what he was doing with that marking. Other than that, he played a solid game. Kitchen, I'll give him a 6.5. He got a yellow card, which I think now he misses the next game. So there's another thing for us to worry about. And could he have been sent off with that kerfuffle that he had with their striker? More probably, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. That's what football is, and he didn't get sent off. He got a yellow card, which I don't like, how referees don't see what happens. They listen to the fourth official, and then he just gives a yellow card for either player. I mean, that's just the cop-out of cop-outs, isn't it? He doesn't see what happens. Both yous have been a kerfuffle. Yellow, yellow. It's such a cop-out nowadays in football. I just don't like when referees do that. But anyways, moving on to left back. Bidwell, I think he has to get a 5 or a 4.5. He was woeful today. His positioning was woeful. On the ball, he was fine. He was making those passes down the line. He was cutting inside, but he left so much of a gap behind him. And I think 2 out of 3 of those goals today were on him, on that left back position. I don't want to go too harsh on him because he hasn't really played for us this season, and he came into a role where he needed to perform, and he just didn't perform. So I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I think it was one of the worst performances I've seen this season from a Cov player. Grimes in the midfield, I'll give him a 7.5. I think he conducted it a lot today. His movement off the ball and on the ball was excellent. I think he was one of the man of the matches. Grimes was definitely my top 3 today, so 7.5 for me. Jamie Ellen, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I think at times he just struggles. I mean, he doesn't have the legs anymore. He's more of an impact player off the bench. That's what I find in him. And again today, he just got caught out a couple of times where he went forward and then left that big gap where Grimes was kind of covering it all by himself. Mason Clark, I'll give him a 7.5. I think he was very good today on that left-hand side. Scored the goal, of course he did. Greatly taken. And then a couple of times he put in the ball into the box, and we could have scored a header. We could have scored anything. It could have went anywhere. He was very energetic today, and he looked a little bit more sharper at times compared to previous weeks where he looks very stodgy, very muscular. Today he looked like on it a bit more. Sakamoto, I've got to give him 9 out of 10. I don't think he did anything wrong today, bar one thing, which you could say him going down for that 3rd goal for them was because he's too lightweight. I would agree with that. On another day, a ref gives that as a foul. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Today, we don't get the rubber green, and they go and score from it. His goal was well taken today. That assist for Mason Clark was excellent down that right-hand side. And that goal, yeah, like I said, was fantastic. Probably one of the goals of the season for us, definitely. I mean, we've got a load to choose from, but he was so good today. Thomas Asante, I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. I don't know what's going on with the referee. When Thomas Asante had the ball, he shoved their player out of play to win the corner, and he gives a foul against us. And then the exact same thing happens to Sakamoto. He's going up front. They shove him into the fucking billboard, and he gets no foul. It's just inconsistency like that. That really annoys me. But I think Asante looked very good today. He looks very sharp compared to Hadji Wright, who I've got to give him a 5.5. I love Hadji. That's Hadji's shirt behind me right there with his name on the back. I think he's Cov's best player when he's on it. But today, he just doesn't seem arsed. I don't know what the problem is. Is he carrying another injury that we don't know about? He looks like he was towards the end of last season. And at the start of this season, he looked like that. Then he went on probably like a 6-7 games where he played really well and he looked very sharp. And now he's back to what he used to be. I just don't know what's going on with Hadji. When Ellis Sims came on, he played a lot better than Hadji again. So I've got to give Hadji a 5.5. So he's one of the lowest rated players for me, honestly. And that's just talking about his movement. He didn't get any chances today, which I can't criticize him for. I hate when people say, oh, Hadji's a terrible striker, he's not putting the ball in the back of the net, but we're not creating any chances for him. I think that's a lazy argument that people use against Hadji. We didn't create any clear-cut chances today, and that was the big problem that we ran into. So I can't really fault him for that. He didn't really have any chances. The only chance that he had was on the left-hand side where he almost scored with his opposite foot from a shot which 99 out of 100 times you're not scoring, and he almost scored from it. It shows that he's clinical, but give him the chances and he'll score. That goal against Watford should have counted. He wasn't offside. Mason Clark, I don't think was offside either. But I feel like Hadji Wright's one of those players where he needs that goal in the game and then he starts firing at the moment. Other than that, he just doesn't seem interested, which is a real shame because I love him as a player. Jay Silva, I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. He looked miles better than Bidwell. Bidwell was woeful today. And it just shows the drop-off from Jay Silva to Bidwell. We have Angel Brau on the bench, or we have him in the reserves. Why are we not using him? I know Lampard's using more as an attacker this season, but surely he can't be any worse than Bidwell. Josh Eccles came on, I think 6.5 also. I think he was very energetic. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism in the fan base, Josh Eccles. I think he did a fantastically well job when he came on for Jamie Allen. Ellis Sims came on, I would give him a 6, 6.5. A couple of times in the game where he could have done a lot better, but he showed a lot more than Hadji Wright, which is it's so bizarre what's happening with Hadji. I just don't understand it, but Ellis Sims came on. He's putting a real claim in there to start as the striker. striker. I would still go with Hadji because I know what Hadji's all about. It's just whether or not he can actually unlock that himself. No one else can do that. Only he can. But Ellis Sims came on. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. And Victor Torp came on. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. He was one of the best players also. I'd say Sakamoto was, Mason Clark, Matt Grimes, and Victor Torp. They were our 4 best players today. And they showed the levels above everyone else. They were 7.5s, 8 out of 10s, and everyone else was like a 6, 6.5. And that's the problem. We try to carry too many players today in the game, and it just didn't work out. Frank Lampard, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I think it was an average performance from him. We went 1-0 up, but I could see the worries were there. And I feel like he was just trying to ride it out at the end. He didn't really change anything formation-wise, which was a real shame to see. It wasn't working in the first half. We go 1-0 up, and then we concede 1-1, and we don't change anything. And he takes off our best players, Thomas Asante and Hadji Wright, who have scored the most goals this season. So that kind of nullified it at 1-1, where we were kind of parking the bus, if you want to call it that. That's what those subs kind of told me, was Lampard was okay with a draw going to this game. Like, I'm not too fussed if we draw or win this game, to be honest. A point is a point, and 3 points is 3 points. Undefeated is undefeated. It's the same thing at the end of the day for me. But I think he did it too early. He took off 2 goal scorers, and that was a detriment to the team. You could definitely see that. Finally, talking about Wrexham again, they played the better football today. They looked very good going forward. They had a lot better chances than we did, and they definitely deserve 3 points. So if you're a Wrexham fan watching this, congratulations. You were fantastic today. You took your chances, and you definitely deserved those 3 points. So going into the next game for you guys, hopefully you can take some confidence, because you'll be playing Portsmouth at Fratton Park, which is a really tough place to go. So congratulations to Wrexham. They definitely deserve 3 points. 3-2 was a fair result in the end. So that's my match reaction to Coventry 2, Wrexham 3. Let me know in the comments down below. What are your reactions? Do you agree with my opinions? Do you have a completely different one? Please let me know, and I'll respond to your comment as always. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We're nearly close to 500 subscribers. So if we could do that before the end of the new year, that'll be absolutely amazing. I'll see you guys in my next one, where I'll do my match preview and my EFL Championship Matchday 14 predictions.